since he doesn't want Besigye out of prison, he will not come out. Because for me, one thing I don't understand, why have they never charged Besigye with a clear offense to tell us that they did that? I saw last night that they were saying that he should plead.
Yeah.
What was he supposed to plead to? Because Besigye is actually challenging whatever they are writing in the offense or something. So what was he supposed to plead to? I didn't understand. And in any case, you came here, for instance, to interview me. If you reach here and you say you write this book, we want you to write a book, would I write a book? Because they had gone to court to do with their what is it? With their release on bail. For me, the law I used to study, I don't know if it was amended. The moment you finish 1 year in prison, bail is automatic.
That has never changed.
It didn't change.
It has never, yeah.
But Besigye has spent more than a year. Now, I want to ask, what are those judges? Why are they even called judges? Why are they called judges? What are they judging? Me, I thank God, because I cannot be used by anybody to do the wrong thing. I can't. You are a judge. These people don't know me. In fact, the other day I addressed the judges, the judicial officers on Zoom. I share with them. They call me, Matembe, talk to us. And I go on my computer there and I talk to them. I told them, the word of God says, thou shalt not judge. That's the word of God. And God says, I am the judge. Now, if God says there is a word which says, I'm the judge, I'm the lawmaker, I'm the king. And if he says, don't judge, and you find yourself appointed a judge, it means you are in that position of a judge on behalf of God. In other words, you are representing God in that chair. And justice is the foundation of God's throne. Now, when you find yourself in that chair, where God says, thou shalt not judge, and he's telling you, now I have given you the responsibility to judge. How are you supposed to judge? You are supposed to judge rightly and fairly. I pity those judges. I'm telling you, there is hell. Me, I believe there is hell. I don't know how many judges will burn in hell. Many judges in Uganda will burn in hell because for them they are worse than us who are never judges. Because God, thou shalt not judge. As judge, so shall you be judged. Now you find yourself in a position as a judge. The best you can do is to judge what is right. If you lose a job, lose a job. God will give you another job. But you don't sit, my Lord, my Lord. Me, I don't want to call them my Lord. Which Lord? But what I know, for me, people demean Kyagulanyi. They call him Sira and whatever. But for me, I didn't know him. But by the time I came to know Kyagulanyi, and I found he was a distinguished young man with a family, with a wife and a family. If this man was a musician, me, I'm a talker, I'm a lawyer, and I talk. Now will you call me rubbish because I talk? A musician is God gifted us differently. Don't you know King David, who used to sing, who used to dance? He's the biggest, the most loved by God, to the extent that even Jesus Christ came from that line. So for me, I have never known why Kyagulanyi is demeaned as useless, as hopeless, as anything, as one who doesn't love Ugandans. And I usually compare him with Museveni, who, when he went to the bush, he was a young man. And by the way, when he came in to contest for presidency, he did not have even a single house. I don't think he even had anything of his as a house. But as Kyagulanyi, before he contested as a president, me, I had opportunity to visit his home to visit his wife, Pite, with the women's movement. I mobilized the women's movement when they were putting him in prison, beating him after they had killed over his driver. That time,
yes.
I felt sorry for the wife. I said, you women, don't you think, does this man have a wife? They said yes. So we mobilized the resources, we bought food, we went to sympathize with this woman. We found a very young girl there. As soon as I reached there, she fell on me and wept on my shoulder. But you know what I saw? When I reached there and I saw the mansion, you see where I stay. I've been a minister for ethics, member of parliament, constitutional commissioner, Pan-African Parliament. What haven't I been? Do you see me with a mansion here? And I've told you that even this house was given to us because of my husband's integrity and hard work by Uganda breweries. But that man whom they demean, with a very big mountain, mansion on a hill. To reach there, we went through 3 gates. I was amazed. I said, this is what they call it. What were they called? The Mugota ghetto. I said, is this the ghetto boy? If ghetto boys are like this, then I think I would love my son to be a ghetto boy. Because if he can be having a mansion like that, which I don't have. Me, I don't know why people demean this man. I don't know. People, especially, they don't know how to read the Bible. Do you know, if you know the Bible, you know why I quote the Bible? It is the one which gives me strength and courage and wisdom. Do you know this boy called David, who was ignored by his father, by his brothers, and they thought he was nothing? And he went down onto the battlefield where the children of Israel were being disturbed by the Philistines, where this huge man called Goliath, like this huge president of ours, mighty man of power, he was there for 40 days. He's been demeaning, reducing the Israelites, calling them nothing. And this young boy went there to take food to his brother. And he said, what? This man here, who doesn't know God, how can he demean my own God? And that thing also, by the way, has a lesson which God revealed to me. And even when he asked his brothers, what can they pay to the one who kills that man? The brother said, we go away with your pride. What do you want? Go back to the ship. What can you do? You are just useless. He said, you people. He asked other people until they tell us that that man, the king of Israel, Saul, heard about it. And they brought and he gave. And you know, when Saul gave David the clothes, the armor, everything. The small boy tried them on, they couldn't fit. They were a burden to him. You know, that was now the strategy of the other one. Museveni's strategy and so on. You give it somebody. He said, no. Leave me to go free the way I am, the one who used it. I know how to handle the situation. And with just a stone, he hit that man who had been there for 40 days. I love these 40 things. The figure 40. He hit that man who had been torturing Israelis for 40 days. And do you know why? What God revealed to me was, while all these other people mind shift, what goes on in your mind, your mentality, is what determines what you will win or lose. While all these people were looking at Goliath, were looking at his size, at his mighty power, at everything, and fearing him, he was too big to hit. Do you know what was in the mentality of David? The wisdom of God showed him that this man is too big to miss. His head is so huge that with my stone, I can't miss him. The other ones were saying, he's so huge, they can't beat him. But the mentality of the wise man called the young boy David, he said, he looked at this man and said, do you see like I'm seeing that screen? Yes. He said, with my stone here, I can't miss it. And indeed, he threw the stone into this huge head of this giant, and he fell, and he cut his neck. So what do you think that is? So
does
you
that
can't
story
tell.
resonate very well with your son, Kyagulanyi?
You can't tell.
Okay.
I'm saying you can't tell. Why? And I told you long ago I don't want the man to be hit in the head. I only want him to be removed.
Okay. As we end up, Dr. President Museveni has been calling youth hooligans, actually. That they are hooligans, more so those ones who follow Kyagulanyi, that they are hooligans. As we finalize, what's your final message to the youth?
But you need to know if he's calling them hooligans. He was also once a hooligan. I think he was also once called a hooligan by Obote. When he was in the bush there in Ruwero fighting, what was he called? And for him, actually, he was doing wrong. He was in the bush fighting government. But Kyagulanyi is not fighting government. Kyagulanyi is fighting, is contesting to take in the right channel procedure to take government. That's what he's fighting. And by the way,
abalungi abatuuliriza era abatulaba olunaku olwaleero tukyaddeko ewa Sheikh Asiraf Dembe.
Sebo nsanyusa okubalaba. Amannya agange nze Sheikh Asiraf Dembe akola ku bizibu by'enjawulo. Omuntu singa aba alina ebirwadde tumusomereddwa, tumuwa amazzi ga lukuya nga bw'obadde ogalaba, tugenda abantu ku kyoto ne twokya emizimu emibi egibabaamu n'okulomba edduwa. Abantu singa abeera ng'ali wano atuuse nsobola okumulombera edduwa, ne waba atatuuse nga mpadde amannya ge naye ng'ali wala. Maneetaaze enamba yange yeeno eri 0707363711. Nammwe bannyinaffe abali ebweru oyagala okuba nti oyagala okulombera ku dduwa ng'olina ebizibu, viza zibuze, amaka gakolongotana, sente zikola zimpita mu ngalo, ojja kumpeereza ekifaananyi kyo n'amannya go, ebyo byokka bijja kummala, nja kukulombera edduwa, ojja kutereera. Olunaku olusembayo mu mwezi mba n'edduwa ey'awamu ffenna n'abalwadde bange abakadde n'abapya. Salaamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
they are the ones who saw them as grasshoppers, just as Ugandans see themselves as useless and hopeless and at the mercy of Museveni and his family. Now, when they gave a bad report, there was only 2 people who gave a good report. By the way, when you compare it with Uganda, I'm one of those people here in this country. And since I'm one of those people who gave the good report, who said, please don't remove the term limit. Yes. I gave that good report, I'm one of them. I believe one day God will keep me to see a peaceful handover of power from one government to another. Because Joshua and Caleb, who came and gave a good report, they said it is okay, we've seen the land, we can cross. Those people, God is with us. God has deserted those people. He's now with us. We can cross. You know, the majority wanted to stone Caleb and Joshua like they want to stone us when we speak the truth. Like they chased me. And they chased me with my colleagues, Kategaya and whoever. When we said no, I remember I was with Sarachi in the cabinet. We said no. They chased us away. And of course, we missed the opportunity to cross because the term limit was removed. But that doesn't mean that after 40 years, which I'm declaring that now 40 years, the children of Israel were able to cross to the promised land. Therefore, I believe one day, this God who has brought us this far, from pre-colonialists up to now, one day we shall cross.
Is it 2026?
And trust in Him.
Could it be 2026? Shall we cross come 2026?
That one, it will be a miracle. Like I have been telling you, that I cannot deny God. God is in control of every situation here. God can shock you. By come 20, I mean, I don't know what we could do to God. Some of us who would jump and find Him where and dance with Him. But he is such a miraculous God.
Yes.
He is a destiny changer. You can't believe it. These people can talk and come the next, is it 20, is it like 17th or 18th or 19th? Huh? You see, phew, that there is change. But that takes a miraculous God who is a destiny changer and whom I don't doubt. He can amaze you. With God, there is nothing impossible. I think that's how I would see it. With God, there is nothing impossible. And for us who trust in Him and hold on to Him, He will never leave us alone or forsake us.
Doctor, I don't know what happens behind doors when you actually, I don't know what headlines your daily prayer nowadays, because you are part of the constitution making process. It has been violated. You don't have to be a political analyst. You are part of the constitution making process. What you see today, do you sit down and regret? And I don't know what you put into your prayers when you.
By the way, me, I don't regret.
Oh.
I don't regret anything.
Seeing everything being violated, every article, every section.
I don't regret anything because I believe in God, and God is in control of every situation, and with God there are seasons and times. For instance, how can I stand up and regret for having joined President Museveni and his team to work for this nation? I can't regret because the mark, by the grace of God, the mark I put onto Ugandan, especially women and girls,
yes,
onto the African platform, onto the international platform. Because if you don't know, in 1998, I, Miria, received a heroine award as one of 100 women of the world who have done great, tremendous work in transforming, mentoring, and guiding the women and the young girls in the world. Now, if President Museveni had not come in NRM and then I embraced the opportunity, would I be that? And by the way, I'm not yet even history. Otherwise, why are you here? Do you know how many press come here day and night looking for somebody who can speak to them what they want? How many women members of parliament tell me, even those who are contesting in the NRM, whom you can go and ask and they talk to you sense? How many are they? Who would talk to you the truth and sense as we see Uganda? They will run away, they will hide from you. So I cannot regret any incident. That was the season that brought me on the public platform and enabled me to realize. And by the way, I had started to regret. If I can share this with you, when I went to Chankwanzi in 2003, and I refused. Everybody said, yes, yes, you are the God of Uganda. Yes, 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 remove. Yes, 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 yes. And I stood up. I spoke for about 30 minutes. You could drop any drop and you could hear it drop. Yes, everybody was shocked. I was facing this man.
The silence was
and
loud.
Talking him the way I will please. No way. You can't do that. That's not right. You talked. You wrote. Why are you deceiving? Why are you changing your mind? What sort of a person are you? And blah, 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 blah. When I finished, he was so angry. And we were facing one another. He was so angry. I told him, you came fight corruption. Now your government is corrupt. Don't you see all these people who are corrupt? Here. They are here with us. Are they UPC? Are they DP? Are your government? And I said violence in elections. I had just seen violence in Mbarara. I had to brace up myself when they were beating the Besigye people. It was so tough, and I said, I saw violence, I experienced it, I participated in fighting it and removing it there in Mbarara, save people in Mbarara. And I said, you said you will bring democracy, freedom, I don't see them. And I told him, for that matter, I propose that we don't remove the term limit. I propose that we now transit into multi-party political system, and we build ourselves into a new party, which will be strong, while other people make a party also. And so you introduce the good multi-party political system in the country, and you rest in Rwachitora while you give us advice. When I said that, he got so angry, he abused me. There. Look at her. Look at her. We gave her a job to do. She's just an alarmist. We gave her a job to do. She failed. Did I fail? We used to investigate with the Besigye, and we get these reports and we give him, and he'd say, those are our people. He'd protect the corrupt. Those are our people. Don't touch that one. He's our cadre. He's this. And then when I told him your people are the corrupt, he said, you failed to do the work. And he abused me, and of course I had no answer. I could not respond. After he had abused me, and what happened, I felt so depressed. I started regretting. I said I wasted my time. I wasted my energy. Why did I do all this? Now she's despising. I've done nothing. When that night I went to sleep, I didn't even pray. I went to sleep so broken-hearted, so depressed, regretting that I had wasted my time. And you know, in the morning when I went at my altar, God spoke to me. He spoke to me in Isaiah 49 verse 1 to 4. He said, don't worry, don't fear. I made I gave your mouth like a sharpened sword, and I hid you under the shadow of my hand. And I made you into a sharp arrow, and I concealed you into my quiver. And I said, you are my servant. Of course, he put Israel, but now it is Miria. You are my servant, Miria, in whom I will display my splendor. Don't worry, I'm your rewarder. Your reward comes from me. So I said, thank you, God. I stopped the regret. Up to now, I don't regret. Do you know that for the last 20 years, I was chased away with no pension, with no gratuity. And by then, I didn't have even money. And I went for elections. I didn't want to abandon my people. I went as an independent. Whatever little money I had saved, I used it for elections. Those days were not buying, but you need agents, you need to travel. Yes. Remember me, I was 49 sub-counties in the whole of Mbarara. And they by the way, they voted me, but they took away my votes. But me, I told my people, I don't want to abandon you. If you don't want me, I will go. And I left. Am I not here? In my old shape house, you know, whatever. By the way, if you don't know, this home, this whole land you see, this home, which is not a mansion, people have at us. We don't have a mansion. It was given as a gift to my husband for working with integrity and excellency in Uganda breweries here. So for us, we serve God, and He has not abandoned us. And God promised me I will never lack. I don't lack.
Doctor, as we wind up today, Dr. Kizza Besigye still languishes in jail. It's now a year and still counting. And President Museveni came out of recent sentence.
And he said to he's sad.
Yes, he's sad. He's not actually happy because it is his lawyers actually delaying everything for Dr. Kizza Besigye to be out of jail. I
wanted to ask you, you are a young boy, young man. You have not seen Museveni for long. Have you ever had Museveni accept responsibility? In my life, ever since he came, I have never heard him say, you know, a good leader is that leader who is held accountable and he accepts responsibility. Let me tell you, President Museveni can blame a cat. He can do something and say it is this cat which came and jumped over the milk. He can never. I haven't seen him say, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ugandans, here I made a mistake. It's unfortunate that no. But one time I heard him saying, a young boy, a lawyer, who had gone to work in State House when they were fighting with the case of 18 military dictatorship, but using them as their channel. Ugandans should say, well, since it is now military dictatorship, then no vote. But you have a military dictatorship, and yet you co-opt it, you use Ugandans to realize your military dictatorship and declare formally that there have been elections. Museveni used to say when he had come, and he wrote it in his books, that democracy is not in a form. Democracy is in substance. And when it is in substance, it is seen. For instance, I will tell you, when we were in the national resistance movement, apart from in the north where the things were bad for 20 years, the army, the violence and so on, here, it was democracy. You would go and stand there, and your friend stands with you, and you campaign and say, you know, you can see, I'm better. I can speak well. I can do this. I'll do this for you. I'll do this for you. And then they would vote. And you move on. We could see that it was okay. But now, for instance, in this campaign of theirs, when I see them talk, instead of saying, for us, as National Resistance Movement, government, party, we shall do this, do this, do this, do that. We are better. We can do it well. We can do it better. We have more ability. We have more knowledge than the other people. You get it? Then the other people also campaign and say, no, you people, you have overstayed. We've seen the wrong you've done. But now for us, we are also ready to come in and show you what we can do. You get it? That's a campaign. That's how it would go. But you don't stand up and say, this opposition, these are funded by foreigners, these are evil, they don't know Uganda, they are wicked, they don't vote them. So why did you allow multi-party political dispensation? And now, if we are in democratic governance and there are campaigns and we want to vote, why do you allow Muhoozi, the army commander, to come and say he's the one who is going to take control and count votes? Stupid.
Security.
Now,
yeah.
The other thing is elections. Like I told you, power belongs to the people. It doesn't belong to Muhoozi and Museveni's family. It belongs to the people. They are supposed to be transparent, free and fair. On that election, at the election ground, it is a ground like in my compound. You see my compound, the way big it is.
Yes.
But haven't we come here to talk from here?
Yes.
Now in elections, I think you have been holding voting. You find the area is demarcated where only the election materials, the machines, and the person who goes and enters in to vote. It is demarcated, and not any other person enters that. So that one should not be entered by anybody. But when you enter and vote, and after voting, the rest of that area where you are belongs to you as Ugandans who have come to elect. Now, if you choose to hang around and enjoy and have your drink here and even eat your whatever you want to eat there, it's up to you. As long as the other area which is condoned is free. If you want to go home, you can go home and come at the time of voting, of counting, and then they count. Honorable Matembe 1, Honorable Msoketu, Honorable Hawan, and you are all seeing, and they count and total, and they tell you that Honorable Matembe has got 200, and Geoffrey has got 150. And then you go knowing that Matembe has what? Has won. That's what we call elections. That's what we call what? Now, these elections, I have always told you I don't believe in them. They are meaningless to me, but you continue coming to ask me. But one good thing is that I'm so glad that I can be able to also participate in Uganda's things. And I participate as a leader of wisdom. I'm not praising myself, or I'm not arrogant. I'm saying by the grace of God, one thing I love President Museveni for, and I tell him, I never forget tell him, is that if he and his Bushmen, if they had not come here to establish that good system that I embraced and ran with it, I would never have realized my childhood dream, which I had wanted to fight for justice, equality, and fairness for all, but with particular emphasis on girl and on child. He gave me that opportunity. I will always love him for giving me that opportunity to realize my dream and to make the environment bring me out as a good, passionate, human concerned or human-centered, people-centered leader in this country. I thank him for that. But do you know how many of such leaders we are missing in this country? Because the environment, like it was during that time when it prevented me, the environment right now is preventing such wonderful young people of dreams, of purpose, who would be leading this nation and taking it further. Because I'm not being proud, but for sure, the moment I stood on the public platform in this country, the situation of women and girls started changing. And there are so many out there who also have their dreams, whom if they got opportunity to come into the public platform, some things in those areas that concern them would change for better. But now they are closed off because President Museveni turned into what he had historically fought against.
Doctor, what do you make of the irregularities which have so far been witnessed? Over 20 NRM candidates are unopposed.
Wait, that is 1980.
Yes.
Yeah, didn't I tell you that? I told you that we are going back to where he came to redeem us. Because even 1980, you know what people would do? But for them, I think they would do it better than this NRM now. Because you were driving to Mbarara to go for nomination on Masaka, and they would put some kind of a roadblock, and they are delaying you. The other at the time for nomination is ending. I remember Professor Akubye suffered that. I can't remember others, but in North there, I think they had, was it 16 unopposed. Now to see that this thing is coming back. When did we have an opposed? When we were in NRM?
What does this mean?
In this NRM system, I spent, is it 20 years in NRM? I don't know whether we had any unopposed. All those 20 years, I don't know whether we could have been there, one or two, but it did not even matter. But now unopposed speaker, unopposed deputy speaker. And for me, I feel sorry for them. You know, for me, I'm a person who wants to feel happy and proud, not arrogant, but proud of myself. Why shouldn't I be proud of myself? I want to prove that I'm capable and I'm better than somebody. And therefore, I would like to compete with somebody and defeat that person. But for them, they are seriously buying them out. Now, if you buy people out, how would you prove you are better than them? They are just buying them out. Ugandans have been made into paupers, into beggars. So whatever you give, they pour out. So all those unopposed, they were buying them. Also Moses was unopposed.
Yeah, Germany, yes.
This is the nonsense that Ugandans have been turned into. You can imagine the people of Germany. with my friend Bame Moses Ara. I love Moses Ara. I used to love him. He was such a good man, because good human being. Even when I was suffering with the women Muslims were suffering when I rose up to fight for women, and Moses Ara came in to help me. When Moses Ara came in to help me, he used to go, I take the Muslim women, he used to go and fight for them and come back. At one time he told me, Miria, you are causing me trouble. These men who are torturing women are coming to tell me that I'm sleeping with their women. I said, don't worry, let's fight together, God knows. But now Bambe, poor man, he fell sick. He fell sick. Sickness is not anybody's fault. He has served to the maximum. Now why do they tease him? Why do they tease him to bring him? And all those Ajman people, Katonda Wang, you Ajman people, I'm here abusing you because you seem to be useless and hopeless. How can't you have a leader? How can't you have a leader, poor old man, torturing him like that and oppose?
Doctor, do you think we still stand any chance for a peaceful transfer of power, bearing in mind what we've gone through as a country? We've had so many opportunities. Do you see us having any other chance?
For me, what I know, we lost the opportunity. We lost the opportunity. And I can compare it. Again, I base my statements on the word of God. Yeah. In that Bible, in Genesis, where is it? I've forgotten, but it must be down Exodus. But when the children of Israel were traveling to go to the promised land, they reached a stage where, was it Joshua? Yes, where they were about to cross the promised land. It was Moses. They were about to cross the promised land. They were seeing it there, they were seeing it there. Like in 2006, we were seeing the peaceful transfer of power.
We were so close.
In 2003, we were seeing a peaceful transfer of power. We were seeing it like the children of Israel were seeing the promised land. And you know what happened? Moses sent 12, every tribe had a representative. He sent them, go and confirm that the promised land God gave us is indeed there. They went there. They traversed the whole land. They saw that the land was there and it was good. They even brought the evidence of fruits, huge fruits there to Moses. And then they said,
Uganda Eyenkya.